went onto the track a short time back, and he, without a doubt, is the best back runner in the race here on course. Affinity won the Caulfield Cup last year, so he's a proven stayer, a class stayer, and today Affinity will have the services of big race jockey Peter Cook, who's certainly no stranger to winning Sydney Cups. He's been successful on a couple of occasions. He won on Veloso in 1983, and if memory serves me rightly, he won on Gallic Temple back in 1971. So Affinity's going to be hard to beat. The Sydney Cup is one of the oldest races on the AJC calendar. It was first run in 1866, and well, here's another calendar we're going to introduce right now with his tote call on the race. Kenneth, my boy, how are you?
I'm well, thank you, John. Yes, Affinity's certainly been the best backed runner in the race, ridden by a big-time jockey, Peter Cook, and trained by a big-time trainer in Jim Maloney from Melbourne. The prices, Hay is at 9 to 2, a little easy in the market. Secured Deposit at 7 to 1, Affinity at 9 to 2. He's shorter with the books, although 6 to 1 was given early. 11 Astralin, the favourite, I'm a Prince, only just favourite at the moment ahead of Affinity in the betting ring, is at 7 to 2. 66 to 1 Our Compromise. Rose and Thistle, probably the best handicapped runner, around about 8 to 1 on the tote, just under. 14 to Annette's Girl, 14 to 1 Late Show, and Sovereign Parade has come in a little bit now to almost 7 to 1. John, that's the picture on the betting.
Good, Ken, and under grey skies at Randwick, the runners start to move into the gates for the Sydney Cup of 1985. We had some very treacherous-looking weather out here earlier on. Things got very dark and very foggy for a while, but that lifted fairly quickly, and at the moment the sun's trying to peep through. As Ken pointed out, Jim Maloney is the trainer of Affinity, a great man with stayers, and let's see what he had to say about this horse's prospects.
Maloney, are you very happy with the way Affinity's trained on towards the Sydney Cup?
Yeah, he's been really pleasing up here, Ken. He's settled in really good this time, and I'm very happy with him.
This little bit of rain, will that worry you?
No. Ronnie Quinton rode him one day. I reckon they were going up to their knees at Caulfield, and he ran second, but I've not got any worries with his Amazon on the wet.
And Jim, you've got a fella called Peter Cook. He's got a pretty good record in 2 mile races.
Rides pretty good, doesn't he?
That was an understatement. He rides pretty good, doesn't he, said Jim Maloney when speaking of Peter Cook. Now, the last couple get into the gates, and they're just about set for a start in the big one. I'm a Prince is actually the last one into the starting stalls. Peter Cook, a picture of concentration on Affinity. Ready to break. They start the Sydney Cup near the 1,000 metres mark, and the stalls fly open and they're off and running in the Cup of 85. And who's going to have the honour of being the early leader? One of the NZers, Sovereign Parade in the green and gold, is in front on settling down at a snail's pace. Secured Deposit running second on the outside. Now Affinity's Cook's in trouble trying to settle him. He wants to throw the head about Affinity, or he's ripping and reefing and kangarooing in the early part. Now Our Compromise, the Queenslander's going to put on some speed, and now the baldy face of Our Compromise shows out in front as they near the turn, and the pace is much truer. It's Our Compromise 2.5 lengths on Sovereign Parade, a length and a half then to Secured Deposit, with Affinity fourth, settling better now. A length or so to Hay, followed after a gap by Rose and Thistle, inclined to pull a bit. On the fence, Astralin, followed by Dwanette's Girl and Late Show, and the chestnut I'm a Prince is back last as they come down the straight the first time. Now, when they get to the judge, they'll have a circuit to go, or about 2,200 metres to travel, and Our Compromise led. He's going at a pretty handy gallop. Secured Deposit second on the outside, locked away third, Sovereign Parade. A length and a half to Affinity, lobbing nicely now. 2.5 to Hay, another 2 to Astralin on the inside of Rose and Thistle. Mercer's eased out 3 deep momentarily on I'm a Prince. He's going to make up a little ground there. Late Show is hugging the rail second last, and Dwanette's Girl last of all as they head down past the 2,000 metres mark. And Our Compromise led the cup field about 2 lengths or a bit more to Secured Deposit. A neck away on the fence, Sovereign Parade, who lost ground at that point. A gap of 3 lengths then to Affinity. A length and a half to Rose and Thistle on the outside of Hay, followed by I'm a Prince on the outside of Astralin, with Late Show second last, and Dwanette's Girl is the trailer. Over the crossing at the 1,600 mark, to the back they go, and Our Compromise got right away now. Opened up a lead of about 5 on Secured Deposit. A length and a half is Affinity getting the run of the race race on the outside of Sovereign Parade. A length to Rose and Thistle on the outside of Hay Eye. A length and a half to I'm a Prince, who's taking closer order, followed by Astralin and Late Show. And Dwanette's Girl is last as they head down the back stretch. And they've got about 1,200 left to go, or a bit more. And Our Compromise is the leader. He's well clear of Secured Deposit. In third place, Affinity. On the rail, Sovereign Parade. And moving up now is Rose and Thistle. Hay Eye on the inside of I'm a Prince, with I'm a Prince only 5 or 6 lengths off the lead. A length and a half further back came Astralin, followed by Late Show, and Dwanette's Girl is last as they round the top turn. Back to where they started now, about 1,000 metres out, and Our Compromise led by more than a length to Secured Deposit, gradually picking him up. In third place is Rose and Thistle, followed by Sovereign Parade, and then Affinity, who might have struck a little bother there. Hay Eye further back. I'm a Prince is now being hard ridden by Mercer, followed by Astralin and Late Show and Dwanette's Girl. But the field is packing suddenly at the 600 mark. You could throw a blanket over them, and Our Compromise still in front. He defies them, Our Compromise. The Queenslander got away, in fact, on the turn, led by 2 lengths on Secured Deposit, followed by Sovereign Parade. Rose and Thistle. Affinity's gone. Hay Eye starting to plug on, and I'm a Prince on the extreme outside as they top the rise, where the Queenslander, Our Compromise, is still in front. The big horse Secured Deposit is coming at him. 2 lengths away, Hay Eye, and I'm a Prince, and now Late Show. Look at Late Show rocketing down the outside. He might tip them all out. Late Show coming at Secured Deposit. I think it's Neil Campton, Sydney Cup. Late Show charging home. He beat him like he's just joined in. Late Show first. I'm a Prince got up for second. Secured Deposit third. Then Our Compromise. Hay Eye, a light of former days. Further back is Affinity, followed by Sovereign Parade and Dwanette's Girl. Astralin is a distant second last, and Rose and Thistle is last to finish in the Sydney Cup of 1985. Neil Campton Sydney Cup on the Brian Mayfield Smith trained Late Show, a son of the former top galloper Purple Patch. And Late Show is the only horse in the Sydney Cup to have been bred in Australia. The only colonial horse in the race. All others were bred in New Zealand. Number 9, Late Show, ridden by Neil Campton. Trained by Brian Mayfield Smith, raced by S&M Fox Investments on the TAB, $7.50 and $1.80. Number 5, I'm a Prince second, to return 95 cents. And number 2, Secured Deposit third, to pay $1.25.
Yeah, what a thrilling ride it was. Neil Campton, a man who's won other big races. He won an AJC Derby on El Gordo, a Golden Slipper on Royal Palmer, and now a Sydney Cup on Late Show. As we pick them up, it's Secured Deposit on the outside of Our Compromise getting to the lead. You've just lost Hay Eye in the yellow cap. He couldn't do any better. And then right down the outside, you'll see I'm a Prince and Late Show coming on. They'll come into picture in a moment. At the moment, we can see Our Compromise, Secured Deposit rather, getting past Our Compromise. Here comes Late Show. Go Cambo's son, the only local horse in the race, the only locally bred horse in the race. He steams home, gets the cash, and as Johnny told you, he's going to pay odds of 14 to 1 on the Giddy Goat. The favourite, I'm a Prince from New Zealand, was second, and Secured Deposit finished third.
Very, very happy Neil Campton as he returns to scale on that winner Late Show. There's Neil doffing the cap and breaking into a broad grin. Campo tried his luck for a couple of seasons in Hong Kong. He returned to Australia probably 6 months or so back, and you might recall not long after coming back to Sydney, he fell in a race here at Randwick and was out of action for some 11 weeks. I just can't recall the name of the horse from which he came to grief here at Randwick. It was a veteran racehorse, a horse that you wouldn't expect to be coming to grief in a race, but he did. Neil, I think, broke his arm in that one, and it took him a heck of a long time to get back into it. He's had a fair bit of riding lately, plenty of quantity, not a lot of quality. I think it was a tribute to Campton that Brian Mayfield Smith selected him to ride the horse today in place of usual jockey Jim Cassidy, who's under suspension. Jim, no doubt, will be watching this telecast right at the moment, and no doubt he'll be pretty frustrated. But a great win to Neil Campton on Late Show in the Sydney Cup of 1985. Back to you, Ian Chappell.
Thanks very much. Johnny Tapp there out at Randwick, and we'll be going back a little later for the Frank Packer Plate out to Randwick. In a moment, the rally sprint.
of a brush.
A short excursion in the rough hasn't done much for Mr. Dewell's golf. But it has alerted him to young Daphne, who isn't so rough.
Pleasure. Yeah. Telephone.
Ah, thank you. I'll just have a go while you practice that one.
Will he get to join the club? Willie hopes so.
Hello. Hello? Ah, they're not here yet.
Will you please remove those spikes before entering the clubhouse?
Oh, sorry.
And remove your car.
My car?
Yes, you're parked in my space. I'm the club captain.
Oh.
And also, change in the changing room next time.
He would like to play around with Daphne.
I say, would you like to play around with me? No, I mean, would you mind if I played around with you? No, I mean, if we played around with each other. No.
Before you play around with my daughter, I suggest that you read these. The rules of etiquette.
Oh, right. Immediately, thank you.
We need the money, unfortunately.
Oh, sorry about falling down the steps like that.
Why?
Well, I don't expect it's very good form, is it?
It's perfectly good form if you're properly dressed.
Ah.
I'll take these, my dear. There we are. And good luck. Mr. Dewell's going to buy us both dinner if you win.
Oh, good. I feel I ought to offer you something on the game if I do.
Oh, no. Only a friendly.
Oh, really? Okay, my honour then.
What?
My honour then.
Really?
Oh, yes.
What? My dinner against your...
Pardon?
Your honour, then?
Oh, it's perfectly usual. Etiquette.
Ah. I didn't know you took your golf so seriously. My God, this is a wonder one. Another nip, Major?
Oh, thank you. Thank you very much. Yes.
It's clouded over a bit.
Will you attend the flag, please?
Oh, sorry.
Your bag, Mr. Dewell.
Oh, what a fall.
Now, when you mark your ball, that's in the way too, if you hadn't noticed.
Oh, so it is. Hang on a moment. Okay now? 5, 6 yards. Gives you an idea.
But you've just walked across
Get on with it. You seem to be holding him up a bit.
I am? Oh, for heaven's sake. Oh, I can see the hole.
Bad luck. Puts me 4 up.
Mr. Dewar, I have a strong desire to bury a 4-iron in your brain.
Really? Well, I'm sure it's the right club.
There are rules, Mr. Dewar. Rules. I've never seen anything like it before. You've ruined my game. You've broken all the laws of conduct.
I take it we can play through at last, Miss Fulbright. Thank you.
How can you do this to me? It'll be all round the clubhouse.
Well, I'm awfully sorry, but I haven't actually incurred any penalty strokes, have I?
No.
Oh, good.
Perhaps you're not such an idiot after all.
Down. A useful tip is, imagine your neck is tied by barbed wire to your jock strap. Oh dear. My hole, I think.
Well, you won't quite see that sort of golf at the moment. Looking resplendent out there as everything is almost in readiness now for race 7, which is the Frank Packer Plate. Just before we go to Johnny Tapp, let's now go out to one of the gentlemen who's very much a part of the smooth running of the races here on Wide World of Sports. That's Kenny Callender. Kenny is with us for the last week. Kenny, it's been a great pleasure working with you, mate, and thanks for all your help over the years.
I should thank everyone for their help, Ian. I've enjoyed every minute of it. It's pretty easy when you've got good crew and blokes helping you out here, but it's a lot easier at the races, mate, if you can tip a winner. And that's what I've been paid for. So I hope I can go out on a winning note by tipping colour page here.
Kenny, have you got one last word of advice for punters? You're a fella who's been a punter all your life.
Yeah, Mike. I think you can win at it, truly I do, but you've got to put in a heck of a lot of time. If you want to be a good carpenter, you've got to do a lot of groundwork. If you want to be a good swimmer, you've got to do a lot of practice. And I think if you want to be a punter, it's no good just coming there and picking them out of the paper at the last minute. You've got to do plenty of homework at home before you get here.
Well, the best of luck to you, Kenny, in your vocation on the other side of the betting ring now. And let's go to Johnny Tapp for the Frank Packer Plate.
Thanks, Ian. Silver Award, ridden by Bruce Compton, is one of the fancied runners. He ran 3rd in the Derby last Saturday. It was a great effort. He's been freshened up by trainer Ray Guy this week because he has to come back to 2,000 metres in distance. Bruce Compton has already ridden 3 winners at Randwick today. He won the first 3 races consecutively on horses trained by Paul Sutherland. So to those people who've invested their hard-earned upon Silver Award, I suppose you're entitled to be a little worried because Compton's got to win 4 races to do it. Well, Ken, during the delay at the barrier before the previous race, I said all the things that needed to be said about your great service to Wide World of Sports over a lengthy period of years. All that remains for me to say in crossing to you for this final tote call is thanks a lot, mate, for all the personal help you've given me, and it's been a great pleasure working with you.
Thanks, John. Yeah, we had plenty of fun together on the radio, on the television, and everywhere we've gone. I've got to tip this winner or I'll go out on a bad note, and I just hope that if I get into the city in August, as I'm hoping to, that all the people that have watched me on Channel 9 come out and have a bet with me. Okay, Silver Award, he's at getting out a bit, nearly at 4-1 now. He ran in the Derby. Easily the best back runner in the ring, sprightly native, into about 4-1 on the tote. They give a lot better. He's challenging for favouritism in the ring. He likes the going and the track starting to cut up. Smart bid at 5-1. Colour page, TAB number 4. I think he can win. He's my tip for the race. I hope the hell he does. I've got my cash on him. He's at 4-1. Pogo's Yarn at 15-1. Double Dandy at 33-1. Noble Player at 20s. True Show 25-1. Perspiration 100. Zephyr Zane, the Bart Cummings trained runner. TAB number 10. He's got out a little bit now to 9-1. Premier Flight at 7-1. She likes the wet. 80 to 1 Christmas Hamper, 100 to 1 Radiant Mission. Lady Baltimore is a scratching, and Infinite Secret is at 50 to 1. Johnny boy, see if you can call Colour Page home first for me here.
I think that's the least I can do for you, Ken, by way of saying thank you for the colossal job you've done, playing your part in Wide World of Sports. OK, Bruce Compton is the rider of Silver Award. He's ridden 3 winners already today at Randwick. Let's see what he thinks about the Greys' prospects.
Bruce Compton, you've certainly got your eye in with the first 3 winners. What's your best ever in Australia?
3's my best, Ken. That's all I've done so far.
What about back home in New Zealand?
Oh, I've ridden 4 in a day, but only on one occasion.
Which brings us to Silver Award. Bruce, he had a very hard run in the Derby.
Yes, he had a very hard run. He's been tremendous the way he stayed up as long as he has, and showed a lot of guts in the Derby as he has in previous runs. And no doubt the same again today, I imagine.
Do you think the switch back to 2000 will be against him?
No, not really. He's pretty versatile, and it just means doing a little bit less with him, and that wouldn't hurt him.
3 to go on.
Only a few to go in for a start in the Frank Packer plates. This, of course, is named after the late Sir Frank Packer, who served on the committee of the Australian Jockey Club for 11 years, up until his death in 1974. Kerry Packer has donated a trophy for the winner of this race, plus a perpetual trophy, which will be retained by the club and on which the name of each year's winner will be inscribed. And the perpetual trophy is the 1858 Doncaster Cup in England. That race was won by Vedettes. It's a magnificent thing, and certainly is the cynosure of all eyes here at Randwick today, the perpetual trophy for the Frank Packer plate. Gee, what a dismal sight it is here at Randwick. Ron Quinton owns a Court's colours, the cerise white Maltese cross, and the gates fly open and they're away. Radiant Mission hesitated and was a clear last out of the gate, and bouncing out in front, Pay Goes Yarn, taken on by True Show. Premier Flight and Colour Page are up there. There's a charge of leaders, and now across comes Noble Player, and momentarily we've got a line of 5 in the run to the first turn. You've never seen a race like it. True Show and Premier Flight are just in front of Pay Goes Yarn. Right off the track, Noble Player. Colour Page easing back a bit now, followed closely by Smart Bid, who's in a prominent spot. On the rails, midfield is Silver Award. At the head of the others, Double Dandy. Off the track, Perspiration, and then Infinite Secret, followed by Sprightly Native and Christmas Hamper. Radiant Mission second last, and Zephyr Zane is last. Through the murk and gloom they go down the backstretch at Randwick, and Pay Goes Yarn booted up to retain the lead by nearly a length on Noble Player. A length True Show, and a head away on the outside, Premier Flight. Silver Award getting a beautiful rails run, slipping up on the fence now to be about 3rd or 4th. Perspiration right off the track, continuing to make ground up towards the lead, and then Colour Page, and further back came Smart Bid. At the head of the others, Sprightly Native, followed by Double Dandy, Infinite Secret, Radiant Mission, Christmas Hamper, and Zephyr Zane last in a very tightly packed field. You could throw a blanket over these at the 800 metres mark, and it's Colour Page now going up quickly to join Pay Goes Yarn. Noble Player 3rd. Perspiration's gone, he's dropping out of it, and then True Show. Silver Award wants to drop the bit. He's being hard ridden. He lost a little ground at that point. I've seen him do that before, though. Don't ride him off yet. Around the turn for home, Colour Page and Pay Goes Yarn. Those riders are getting out a bit, looking for firmer ground. Premier Flight and True Show near the inside rail. Silver Award under heavy pressure, boxing on at the head of the others. Then on the outside, making a run of Smart Bid as they get to the top of the rise, where Colour Page is just the leader. Pay Goes Yarn won't give up. He's boxing on, and what's this? Sprightly Native. Look at Sprightly Native down the outside, is coming home right over the top of them. He'll get up and win easily, Sprightly Native. Sprightly Native careering away in the last bit, and he'll beat Colour Page. Silver Award got going again to get 3rd. Zephyr Zane 4th from last on the turn. Pay Goes Yarn weakened. Then Premier Flight, Christmas Hamper, well back Smart Bid, a long gap to True Show, Noble Player, Double Dandy, Infinite Secret, Radiant Mission, and a bad last, Perspiration. An easy win to number 2, Sprightly Native, ridden by Wayne Harris, $2.70 and $1.10, $2.70 and $1.10. Now, second money will go to number 4, Colour Page, on the place tote to pay 95 cents. And Silver Award just keeps on going, another placing, $1.05.
Yeah, and Sprightly Native, the big firmer in the betting, he got the last go at them. Mick Dittman shot away on Colour Page, but Sprightly Native was just too solid and got the cash. And we'll be back shortly with more on the Wide World of Sports.
Man who was